My boyfriend broke up with me for the dumbest reason you can imagine, after everything I did for him, but he must have forgotten one small detail. The house? It's in my name. And now, he's sleeping in his car. Yeah, seriously, let me back up a bit. Finn and I were together for 6 years. 6 long years. I thought what we had was real. Love, loyalty, all that. But looking back, it was mostly me being way too patient and way too forgiving. I was the one keeping us afloat, paying the bills, covering the mortgage, buying groceries, even paid for his car. Basically, I handled everything while he chased, dream after dream, and not the kind that actually pay off. First, there was the YouTube phase. He swore he'd be the next big thing, bigger than PewDiePie. I wish I was kidding. That flopped. Then came NFTs. He was all early adopter and we're gonna be rich. Total disaster. After that, crypto. He jumped in way too late, got cocky, and lost pretty much everything he had. Meanwhile, I kept working, stressing, and carrying us, financially, emotionally, you name it. I believed in him. Every single time he said, this one's different, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to believe it, that maybe this time it would actually work. But nope, same cycle, over and over. And what do I get? After all that, a breakup. For a dumb reason I still can't wrap my head around. After 6 years of sacrifice, this is how he repays me? Honestly, part of me thinks he expected I'd still let him stay in the house, even after everything. But again, it's my house, not his. So now, he's in his car and I'm finally done playing the fool. Let him figure out real life on his own. I did my part, probably more than I should have. So, things started feeling off about 2 weeks ago. Finn was acting weird. Distant, always on his phone, making these vague little comments like, I need space, or I'm just trying to find myself. At first, I didn't think much of it. He gets like that sometimes. Super deep and dramatic, right before diving into his next big idea. I figured it was just another phase, but then he started nitpicking the house. And that was new. He'd point out a couple dishes in the sink or laundry on the chair and say things in this cold, passive-aggressive way. Not normal small talk. There was a tone, like he was judging me. It felt off, like he was building a case or something. And then came last week. I'd just gotten home from work. Tired, done, not in the mood for anything heavy. But Finn goes, can we talk? So we sit down at the kitchen table, the same table I bought, by the way. He's got this look on his face, the kind people get when they're about to drop something serious. I'd seen it before, usually before, telling me another one of his ventures had tanked. So I brace myself. But then he says, I think we should break up. I just stared at him. And then, wait for it, he adds, you don't do enough around the house. I actually laugh. Like out loud, I thought he was kidding. But nope, he just sat there completely serious like I was the one being ridiculous. And in that moment, something in me just went quiet. This man, who I've practically raised for 6 years, is now saying I'm not pulling my weight. I tried to stay calm. I asked what exactly he meant, hoping maybe he'd walk it back or admit he was just stressed. But he doubled down, said, you don't clean up after yourself. And I feel like I'm the one carrying all the emotional weight in this relationship. Yes, that's what he said. According to him, he's been doing all the emotional labor wild, right? This man who I've supported financially, emotionally, and in every other way, now says I'm the one not showing up. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. But at the same time, a part of me wasn't even surprised anymore. Let me paint the picture for you. I'm out here working crazy hours just to keep everything going. Meanwhile, Finn's at home, lounging in his so-called creative space, cooking up his next big idea. So yeah, maybe I don't always do the dishes right away. Maybe the laundry sits around a bit. Maybe my coffee mug spends the night on the counter or my shoes stay by the door longer than they should. But here's the thing, I pay for everything. Every bill, every grocery run, every drop of water, every light left on. That's all me. I cover the entire household. And Finn, what's his big contribution? Organizing our bookshelf by genre 3 times. Oh, and he tossed out half my Tupperware because it didn't spark joy. Seriously, who told him he was the Marie Kondo of the kitchen? Let's not forget, this is the same guy who freaks out if the Wi-Fi goes down for 5 minutes. And guess who's always the one on the phone fixing it? Me. Again, birthdays, I planned them. Holidays, also me. Weekend plans, still me. I was the one making the reservations, sending the invites, making sure everything ran smoothly. This man couldn't even order takeout without checking with me 3 times and still messed up my order. So I have to ask, what are we even doing here? Because if I'm the one holding up this whole life and now I'm being told I don't do enough, yeah, something's not adding up. Here's where things just went completely off the rails. Right after he dropped the whole we should break up bomb, Finn started acting like he owned the place. Like, really believed he was staying and I was the one who needed to leave. He even threw out this smug little line about how this could be a fresh start for both of us. Then casually suggested I could go stay with my mom for a while. My mom. As if I was just some guest crashing in his space. But wait, it gets worse. He started talking about turning the guest room into his new home office. Like, actually planning the paint colors and where he'd put the shelves. My chair hadn't even cooled yet, and he was already redecorating. Then, completely serious, he says he might finally get a dog now that no one's gonna be around to complain about the shedding. Excuse me? That's when it hit me. This man actually forgot or maybe never really understood whose name is on the title to this house. Spoiler, it's not his. Not even close. This house? It's mine. I inherited it from my grandparents. My name is the only one on the deed. Every mortgage payment? Me. Every repair, every bill, every single light bulb in this place? Still me. He wasn't just out of touch. He was living in a fantasy, acting like he was building a brand new life in my house while treating me like some side character in it. Yeah, no, not happening. So I just got up, didn't say much, walked upstairs and quietly locked the bedroom door behind me. I'm not doing the whole back and forth. No arguing, no begging, no trying to explain myself. That chapter is closed. He can sit downstairs in his little fantasy thinking he's in control. Let him think he's winning the breakup. Let him picture me packing my bags and walking out. like some dramatic movie scene. Sure, let him hold on to that image a little longer, because the truth, he has no idea what's actually coming. In about 5 minutes, that smug look is gonna vanish, fast. He doesn't realize he's not just losing me, he's losing the house, the roof over his head, every single thing he's been living off of, like it was his by default. He didn't pay for it, he didn't build it, but somehow, he thought it would all still be his. And honestly, I can't wait to see the look on his face. That exact moment when it all clicks, when it finally hits him, just how badly he messed up. It's going to be chef's kiss. Perfect. First update. So, if you saw my last post, you already know, my boyfriend, well, ex now, Finn, dumped me out of nowhere. His reason? He said I didn't do enough around the house. Yeah, seriously. Meanwhile, I was the one paying for everything. The mortgage, the bills, groceries, internet, water, lights, all of it. He was just out here working on himself for, 3 years straight? And on top of that, I still cooked, cleaned, and handled most of the chores. Everything except dealing with his precious gaming setup. That was his one true job. But here's where it got ridiculous. Right after breaking up with me, Finn started acting like the house was his. He never actually said it, but the way he moved, the attitude, it was loud. He sprawled out on the couch like a king in white. A castle he didn't build, left snack wrappers everywhere, played video games till 4 a.m., yelling through his headset like I wasn't even there. And then came the boldest move. He started telling me what I should start packing, like he was doing me a favor by letting me leave in an orderly way. I just sat there thinking, is this man serious? Because it felt like watching someone live inside their own fantasy world. And yeah, it got worse. A week later, he casually mumbles, without looking at me, that he's having a friend over. Says I need to respect his space in my house. Sure, Finn, let's go with that. So I played along. I was curious. Doorbell rings. I answer, and there she is. Mila, big smile, wine bottle in hand, super polite, honestly sweet girl. But yeah, she was definitely not just a friend. You could feel the vibe instantly. The way she looked at Finn, that wasn't friendly. That was we're already a thing energy. And Finn, he didn't even introduce us. Just walked her right in like I wasn't even standing there. Gave her a little tour of the house like he was trying to sell it. My house, the one I own, the one he doesn't pay a dime for. No legal rights, no financial tie. But here he is, acting like a real estate agent showing off his new listing. Unbelievable. This is the living room, he said, puffing out his chest like he was giving a luxury tour. I've been thinking about swapping out the couch, something more modern, you know? Then he walks into my kitchen and goes, I love how open this space is. Makes hosting so easy. And get this, he points at the spare room and says, this is my office. It's where I do most of my work now. I almost choked. Work? Finn hasn't had a real job since 2018? And that office? That's the room I set up for him when he promised he'd start freelancing. Spoiler, it turned into his Fortnite cave. That's where he yells at 14-year-olds and rage quits every other night. And Mila, she was loving it, smiling, nodding, eyes wide like she could already picture herself moving in, throwing pillows on a couch she didn't pay for, sipping wine in a life she didn't build. Meanwhile, I'm standing in the kitchen, gripping my coffee mug so hard I'm surprised it didn't crack. At that point, I had two options. Option 1, go off. Tell them both exactly what I thought. Option 2, stay quiet. Let Finn keep building his little dream world until it falls apart on its own. I picked option 2. So the whole night, he struts around like he's the man of the house, acting like I'm just crashing here out of pity. Real, generous landlord energy. And then he pulls me aside, like it's his place. He goes, I think we should talk about a timeline for when you'll be out. No rush or anything, but Mila. And I need to start planning. Planning what? A housewarming party in my living room? I just smiled and said, calm as ever, oh, don't worry about me. I'm handling everything. You should have seen his face. So smug, so sure he'd won. The next morning, that's when I made my move, while Finn was still passed out, snoring, like he hadn't just tried to kick me out of my house. I was already on the phone with a locksmith. He showed up quick, didn't ask questions, just did the job. In and out, in under an hour. I paid him, thanked him, and made myself a cup of tea. Calm, waiting, like I already knew how this movie was going to end. Eventually, Finn stumbles into the kitchen, yawning like it's just another normal day in his little make-believe kingdom. I didn't even blink. I looked up and said, super casual, oh, by the way, I changed the locks this morning. You've got until the end of the day to grab your stuff and go. The way his face dropped, total panic. He went pale, like full-on ghost mode. Wait, what? You changed the locks? You can't do that. I just sipped my tea. Oh, I can. I told him, this house is mine. My name's on the deed. You're not on the mortgage. You're not even a tenant. And now, you're not welcome here. He tried everything. Arguing, begging, trying to guilt me like we were still some kind of team. Said things like, I thought you loved me, and I thought we were building a life together. Yeah, I was building. He was playing Xbox. And then, just when it couldn't get more awkward, Mila showed up. She must have thought it was going to be another cozy night with her new guy. Instead, she walked into chaos, Finn stuffing his life into bags while I stood there arms crossed, reminding him not to forget his precious gaming chair. Her face? Absolutely stunned. She just kept looking at him and saying, wait, this isn't your house? He didn't even try to explain, just kept packing like his life depended on it. By sunset, they were both gone. The house was quiet, the energy clear. I poured myself a glass of wine, sat down on that same couch he said he wanted to replace, and finally breathed. And all I could think was, wow, I almost lost everything. Not because of love, not because of heartbreak, but because I gave too much. my time, my money, my patience, to someone who never earned it. Never again. And just like that, chef's kiss. The universe did its thing. Oh, and for anyone wondering what happened to Finn, let's just say it didn't go well. He's now couch hopping like a Netflix subscription nobody wants to renew. According to a mutual friend who, let's be real, couldn't wait to spill the tea, Mila dumped him. Yep, turns out, finding out your new boyfriend is broke, jobless, and technically homeless isn't exactly the love story she had in mind. She was shocked. Like, truly caught off guard. Guess Finn forgot to mention the part where he has no money, no job, no house, and no plan. Pretty big details to leave out, don't you think? Karma didn't wait. She didn't knock, she just walked in and handled it. And the best part? I didn't have to do a thing. I just watched it all fall apart from a distance. Peaceful, quiet, and with a glass of wine in hand. That kind of satisfaction, you can't buy it. Second update, boo! Just when I thought the drama left with Finn, plot twist. A few days after he moved out, I get a call from our mutual friend, Caleb. At first, it's the usual small talk. Hey, just checking in, making sure you're good. But I could hear it in his voice. He wasn't just being friendly, he wanted info. Bad. So I asked straight up, did Finn send you? Long pause. Awkward. Silent enough to answer the question before he even spoke. Then Caleb finally admits, okay, yeah, kind of. And what he told me next? Total delusion. Apparently, Finn had been planning the breakup for months, telling people he was finally reclaiming his peace, leaving behind his nagging girlfriend, and get this, taking over the house, like it was some prize he earned. According to Finn, this was his big transformation moment, his new era. He was done being held back, done with me. And the house? He said it was basically his now, because of all the work he put in to make it feel like a home. I had to stop Caleb mid-sentence because I was laughing so hard I almost spilled my tea. What work? This is a guy who doesn't even separate whites from colors, who thought taking the trash out once a month made him king of the castle. So I asked, did he forget to mention the house is legally mine? Caleb goes, honestly, he said if you asked him to leave, he'd probably just go. And if not, he'd figure something out. Oh, Finn. Sweet, tragically confident Finn. It's giving main character energy, with no plot, no plan, and absolutely no clue. Oh, and just when you thought Finn couldn't get more delusional, he proved us all wrong. Turns out he was so sure I'd just hand over the house like it was a gift. He started celebrating before the breakup even happened. Caleb told me Finn had been going around acting like he'd already won, telling everyone he was finally free to focus on his life, like he hadn't already been focusing only on himself for the last 3 years. And the best part? He started planning a housewarming party in my house. The audacity? Off the charts. But then Caleb said something that really got to me. Finn had been telling people I barely paid for anything, that he was the one keeping the household together. Seriously? This man once asked me if utility bills come every month, or only when something breaks. He didn't even know what the mortgage payment was, couldn't name a single bill. And now he's out here claiming he was the backbone? It wasn't just lying. It was full-on fiction. Like he was making up a whole new version of reality, one where he was the hero and I was the problem. I thanked Caleb and hung up. At first, I told myself to let it go. Finn was out of my house, out of my life. I had peace again. That should have been enough, right? But then I sat with it. I thought about all the times he made me feel like I wasn't doing enough, all the times I paid for things, and he acted like we figured it out. Every moment I dimmed my light just to keep him from feeling small. And now he was out there rewriting the story, making himself the victim, painting me as the one who held him back. No, I wasn't going to stay quiet while he twisted the truth. If he wanted to turn this into a pride thing, fine. I'd hit him where it hurt most, his ego. Because from that moment on, I was done being the generous one. This is where I stepped into full main character mode. No yelling, no drama, just calm, sharp moves, clean, clear, and brutal. First, I sent a group message to our mutual friends. Super polite, no ranting, no name calling, just facts, straightforward, like a receipts, folder in message form. I explained the house situation, 100% mine, not shared, not co-owned, mine. Finn never paid the mortgage, never helped with bills, and barely bought anything besides energy drinks. I even attached screenshots, lease agreements, utility bills, all in my name. Just for fun, I added a photo of the deed, one name, mine. I wasn't about to let him tell people he got kicked out of his home. That was my story to set straight. Next move, I called a local charity that helps families furnish their homes. I donated every piece of junk he left behind, his old desk, the couch he never used, and yes, even that gaming chair he cared about more than real life. They were grateful. I was so glad to be done with it. Then I reached out to his parents. They were always respectful to me, and I figured they deserved the truth. No drama, no dragging, just the real story. I kept it simple, but made it clear. Finn's sob story wasn't true, not even close. And then, the group chat blew up. People were shocked, totally caught off guard. Most messaged me privately to say they had no idea he was lying like that. A few of his closer friends tried to defend him, said he was going through a lot. Nope, I shut it down quick. We all go through stuff. That doesn't give you the right to lie and take credit for someone else's life. And then, the finale. Of course, Finn found out. He called me, furious, yelling that I'd ruined his life, saying I had no right to expose him like that. I stayed calm, let him rant. Then I said one thing. You've been lying for months. I just told the truth. Then I hung up, blocked his number, and that was that. Done. And this is where the universe tied it all up with a neat little bow. Not long after everything went down, I heard from Finn's parents. And wow, they were shocked. His mom actually called me, almost in tears, apologizing over and over. She said they had no idea he treated me like that. His dad didn't say much, just quietly thanked me for being honest. Then came the part that really caught me off guard. His mom offered to pay me back for some of the bills. She said she felt terrible knowing how much I had carried on my own. Was kind, but I turned her down. I wasn't looking for money. I just wanted them to know, to see what their son had been saying behind my back. But the real cherry on top, that happened a few weeks later, totally random, at my favorite little coffee shop. I was just in line, minding my own business, when someone said my name. It was Mila. She looked embarrassed, like someone who finally realized they'd been fed a bunch of lies. She came up to me soft-spoken and apologized. Said she never would have gotten involved if she'd known the truth. Turns out Finn had lied to her too. Big surprise. Told her the house was ours, that I was the one who checked out emotionally, and that he was just trying to move on. Then she hit me with the wildest line I've heard all year. Did you know he's living in his car? Apparently once the truth got out, none of his friends wanted anything to do with him. Nobody would let him crash, not even for a night. And his parents? They were done. No rescue, no backup plan. They told him to deal with it himself. So now, he's living in the backseat of his car, burned every bridge, no home, no plan. Just him and the fallout from the story he created. And look, I don't wish that on anyone. I really don't. But in his case, he made this mess. And now he's sleeping in it. Third update. Oh, you're gonna want popcorn for this. Because Finn's shameless saga, it's still going. Like a bad sequel nobody asked for. So last week, I'm out having lunch with my sister Nora. Just a normal catch-up. Nothing deep, but I could tell something was off. She kept fidgeting, checking her phone, giving me these nervous glances like she was holding onto a secret that was eating her alive. Finally, I just asked, okay, what's going on? And she hits me with the dreaded line, don't be mad, which, of course, means I'm definitely about to be mad. Then she says it. Finn reached out to me last week. I almost choked on my salad. Turns out our boy has been out here doing the rounds, telling anyone who'll listen that we had this verbal agreement about the house. According to him, we were basically married. We weren't. And he'd poured his heart and money into building a life with me. He didn't. But wait. It gets better. He didn't just reach out to catch up or apologize. He asked Nora for money, not like 20 bucks for gas. No, he asked for enough to get back on his feet and, his words, fight for what's rightfully his. As in, my house, the life I built, the one he only ever contributed dirty laundry and broken HDMI cables to. And Nora, she gave it to him. Now hold up, don't grab the pitchforks just yet. Let me explain. Nora and I are close. Always have been. She's smart, grounded, not the type to fall for nonsense. But Finn, he gave her a full Oscar-worthy performance. Said he'd sacrificed everything for me, that I kicked him out and left him with nothing. Claimed he was homeless, broken, and just needed help to rebuild. He even showed her screenshots, bills he paid. Except, small detail, those were bills I gave him money for. He just left that part out. I felt bad for him, Nora said, looking like she wished she could disappear. He was living in his car and he seemed so sure about everything. I thought he just needed a little help. So now, Finn isn't just rewriting history. He's crowdfunding the fantasy. I just sat there, staring at her, trying to process what I'd just heard. My sister gave Finn, a walking red flag with a heartbeat, $2,000. How much did you give him? I asked, already bracing myself. She barely looked up. $2,000. She mumbled into her coffee, like saying, it quietly might make it sound better. 2,000? I repeated, probably louder than I meant to. My voice hit that pitch where people at nearby tables started turning. I was this close to losing it, until she pulled out her phone. Just look at this, she said. And oh, Nora, you legend. She didn't just give him the money. No, she made him sign an IOU, a real one, with repayment terms, an interest rate, the whole deal. I stared at her screen like it was the twist ending in a movie I didn't see coming. And the best part? She made him put his car up as collateral. So if, or more likely when, Finn doesn't pay her back, she owns the very back seat he's been living in. Why would you go that far? I asked, still trying to figure out when my sister turned into a one-woman loan agency. She just smiled, calm, collected, unbothered. Because I knew he was lying, she said. I wanted proof, something in writing. I figured later it might be useful to have a document showing he had to borrow money to fight for a house that was never his. I could have cried. I could have built her a statue right there. Instead, I just sat there, stunned, proud, completely in awe. Nora didn't just protect me. She laid the trap and left the door wide open. Iconic. Oh, you thought this saga was finally over? Nope. Finn has one more act in this never-ending drama. Remember Caleb, our mutual friend who accidentally became the truth messenger? The one who spilled the tea about Finn planning the breakup like it was a business move? Yeah, him. Well, Caleb came through again. He sent me screenshots, plural. Turns out Finn has taken his pity party to social media. And it's not just vague, moody posts. No, he's posting full-blown dramatic rants where he paints himself as the victim of a calculated gold digger. Yep, you read that right. Finn says I trapped him in a 6-year relationship so I could steal his future earnings. Future earnings. From what exactly? The YouTube channel that never took off? The NFT project that flopped? The crypto investment that lost everything? All of which, let's not forget, I paid for. And now he's spinning it like I had some master plan, like I supported him, fed him, and kept a roof over his head just to take money he never even made? At this point, the audacity isn't even surprising. It's comedy. His posts are filled with over-the-top fake deep nonsense about betrayal, emotional abuse, and how I weaponized stability against his potential. He even called himself a man of vision betrayed by someone addicted to comfort. I can't make this up. This is the same guy who had a meltdown because I bought the wrong flavor of energy drink. The same guy who thought alphabetizing the bookshelf counted as contributing to the home. Manipulate him? I literally subsidized his existence. Honestly, I should frame these posts, hang them next to the house deed with only my name on it. Because now, he's not just rewriting history, he's trying to sell it as a movie script. And spoiler alert, no one's buying it. And just when you think Finn's imagination couldn't go any further, plot twist. We're now in full-on fantasy land. So, my friend Zoe, absolute legend, has been quietly keeping track of all the stories Finn's been spreading. Like she's building a museum exhibit called The Many Faces of Finn. And let me tell you, the man is running multiple storylines, like he's the star of his own soap opera. To some people, he's the poor, heartbroken guy, the victim of a cold, manipulative ex who used him and tossed him aside when he was at his lowest. To others, he's the loyal, selfless boyfriend who sacrificed everything to help me succeed. Just a humble hero in the background while I chased my goals. Spoiler, he never paid for any of them. And then there's the wildest one. He's telling people we were business partners. Yep, says I cut him out of the empire we built. Empire? Pretty sure he's talking about the Etsy shop I ran while he streamed to 3 bots and a cousin. But here's my favorite. Apparently, I promised to put his name on the house deed as a birthday gift. Then, in some dramatic twist, I backed out at the last second just to hurt him. Cruel, right? This from the same man who forgot my birthday one year because he was too busy trying to become a Twitch streamer. With no mic, no camera, and no viewers. Like, sir, you skipped my birthday to rage quit Apex Legends, and now you're out here telling people I promised you property like we're in a Hallmark movie? Let's be real. The only thing he was ever entitled to was a happy birthday text, and even that was generous. So yeah, while Finn's out here spinning fan fiction and pitching himself as the misunderstood lead, we're over here taking notes, sipping tea, and waiting for his latest story to fall apart. It's giving desperation, wrapped in delusion, tied with a very frayed ego. Oh, and just when I thought we'd reached the end of the Finn cinematic universe, he hit me with another unwanted sequel. This one, pure chaos. Yesterday, completely out of the blue, I started getting a string of wild messages from him. No punctuation, all caps, total spiral. Right from the first word, I knew something was off. He's now threatening to expose me to everyone we know. Says he's going to reveal all my dark secrets and show people who I really am. And honestly, I'd be worried if it wasn't Finn. This is the same guy who once tried to become a professional dog photographer using my camera and no actual clients. The same guy who dumped all his birthday money into crypto coins called Moonbutt and Shib Eagle and was shocked when it all disappeared. So what secrets does he think he has? That I paid the rent? That I backed every ridiculous career change while he read get-rich-quick guides written by other broke dreamers? Please, I haven't said a word back. Not because I'm scared, but because silence hits harder. And yes, I saved everything, every message. Because you never know when a record of digital meltdowns might come in handy, especially when someone's acting like a rejected supervillain. And something tells me this isn't over. Finn's never been good at facing the truth, closing chapters, or dealing with real consequences. And now that he's probably burned through the money Nora loaned him, most likely chasing another fantasy he found on Reddit, I can feel it. He's planning something, some new angle, some new excuse to try and claw back what he thinks he's owed. Because in Finn's mind, even when he loses something he never built, he still thinks he was robbed. So yeah, I'm watching, I'm ready, and I'm done playing nice. Let the delusions roll in. I've got receipts, popcorn, and nothing left to lose. Last update, last Sunday afternoon, I'm just trying to enjoy my quiet post-Finn life. I'm doing something super normal. Grocery shopping, just checking off my list, grabbing oat milk, frozen blueberries, feeling good for once. And then, out of nowhere, I run straight into Finn's mom. Literally, cart-to-cart crash in the produce aisle. My first instinct, just smile, nod, and move on. No drama, no conversation. A quick, oops, hey, good seeing you, bye kind of moment. But nope, she reaches out and actually grabs the side of my cart. Then she says, we need to talk. Right away, I could tell something was off. Her usual kind, mom-like energy, totally gone. She looked serious. Not just upset, but tired, like someone who'd been holding on to something for too long. Still, her voice had a softness to it, maybe even concern, so I agreed. We left the carts, walked to a little cafe nearby, and sat down. She took a deep breath, kind of shaky. Then she looked at me like she wasn't sure how to even start. Finally, she said it. I need to tell you what Finn's been up to, because this has gone too far. And my heart sank, because if his own mom is saying it's gone too far, you already know. Whatever she was about to say next, it was going to be bad. Just when I thought this whole circus was finally over, Finn pulled off one more stunt, and somehow made everything worse. So I'm sitting with his mom in this quiet little coffee shop, and suddenly it feels like we're in a true crime docuseries. She starts telling me everything. Apparently, Finn showed up at their house last week like he was some kind of hero coming back from battle. He claimed he had evidence, like a full-on case file, that I tricked him into putting all the bills in my name, like I somehow created a fake paper trail and he was just too trusting to notice. But it gets worse. He told them he gave me cash for the down payment and was now working with a lawyer to get the house back. Yes, my house. The one I bought with my money before he even moved in. That's when his mom cut him off and reminded him that she and his dad were literally there when I bought the house. They knew he had nothing to do with it. He wasn't on the deed. He wasn't even on the lease. But Finn didn't stop. He talked over her, said he was building a case, and asked for money to help set things right. And when they said no, when the two people who've always given him more chances than he deserved finally refused, he snapped. Started yelling that they never supported him. Said they were choosing me over their own son. His mom said it was like watching someone perform in a bad courtroom drama. Loud, emotional, and completely disconnected from reality. Then she looked at me, completely drained. He's not the boy I raised, she said. I don't know what happened to him. And then came the real twist. Finn had been lying to his own family. Big lies. Different stories for different people. He told his 19-year-old sister that he already bought me out of the house and just needed money to fund some renovations. She's a kind kid. She believed him, and she gave him her savings. Let that sink in. He took his teenage sister's money for a house he doesn't own, hasn't lived in for weeks, and has no legal claim to. And it didn't stop there. He told other relatives we were secretly married and going through a messy divorce. Told someone else I promised him the house in exchange for sweat equity. Yes, those were his actual words. As if wiping down a monitor or rearranging a bookshelf counts as a down payment. And here's my favorite. He told his grandmother, his sweet cookie-baking grandma, that I was holding his gaming equipment hostage. You know, the same setup I donated to charity when he left it behind. At this point, I don't even think Finn believes his own lies. He just throws them out like spaghetti and hopes one sticks. But now, he's not just spiraling, he's pulling people down with him. And the saddest part, he still thinks he's the hero. Plot twist. He's not even the main character anymore. Just when I thought I'd seen it all, Finn's mom hit me with one last bombshell. She pulled out her phone, scrolled for a second, then turned the screen toward me with a look that said it all. Half angry, half just done. There it was, a GoFundMe page. Title: Help local man reclaim his home from manipulative ex. I nearly spit out my coffee right there in the cafe. The description? It read like a bad soap opera. Finn claimed he'd used his life savings to help buy our home. What savings? That I tricked him into putting everything in my name. And now, he was fighting to reclaim what was stolen. And just to sell the fantasy even harder, he added pictures of my actual house. The front porch, the living room, even the spare room he used to call his office. All pulled from my old Instagram posts. Like this was some tragic HGTV episode, not just him refusing to pay rent. Oh, and get this. He said he did renovations. Renovations. The only thing Finn ever updated was the living room layout so he could game with the TV at the perfect angle. And that wasn't home improvement. That was him avoiding job applications while pretending to be productive. But here's the worst part. People were donating, not a ton, but enough. Around $800 from people who clearly didn't know him well and just saw local man and manipulative ex and thought, aw, poor guy. He really thought this scam was working. Thankfully, his mom, bless her, stepped in and shut it down. She reported the whole thing and contacted GoFundMe directly. Sent them proof the house was mine. Screenshots, documents, everything. The page got removed before it could spread any further. So yeah, his big plan to crowdfund his way back into a fantasy? Gone. Just like every other fake story he's told. And honestly, I don't know what's sadder, that he made the page or that he truly believed people would fund his entitlement. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he started selling Justice for Finn t-shirts on Etsy. But sure, I'm the manipulative one. I had to do something, she said, her voice calm but serious. He needs to face reality. I just sat there blinking, trying to take in how far Finn had spiraled. And his mom? She wasn't sugarcoating anymore. Turns out Finn hadn't even been staying in their house. Nope, he'd been sleeping in his car, in their driveway. He told them he wouldn't step inside unless they took his side. Like this was some legal drama, not a sad story about someone refusing to face the truth. Every morning, he'd leave the car pretending he had meetings about getting the house back. Meetings. As if he had a legal team when he was probably just sitting in Starbucks Googling how to take someone's name off a deed using free Wi-Fi. Then he'd come back at night with new stories. New updates, like a bad improv show where the script keeps changing but the actor won't leave the stage. Eventually, his mom hit her limit. One night, she overheard him on the phone, trying to get Mila involved. Yes, Mila, the rebound girl who dumped him the second she found out he had no job and was living in his car. He was asking her to be a character witness, to say the house was basically his, that I just kicked him out unfairly. Mila? She laughed, out loud, then hung up. Honestly, good for her. That's when his mom saw it clearly. This wasn't just heartbreak. It wasn't just bad choices. Finn had built a full-on fantasy, and he was willing to lie, guilt, and manipulate anyone, his family, an ex, even a short-term fling, to make it feel real. But reality doesn't work like that. At some point, it pushes back. And now, even his own mother had stopped playing along. I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for him, she said, looking me straight in the eye. I'm telling you so you're prepared. He's not going to stop. Not until life forces him to. And then she did something I didn't expect. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small worn photo album, the kind people usually keep tucked away, filled with happy memories. But this one felt heavier, like it carried something else. She handed it to me like it weighed more than it should. I opened it. Inside were photos of Finn from the past few years. Birthdays, holidays, family get-togethers, backyard afternoons. But in every single picture, Finn wasn't really there. He was always on his phone or behind a laptop, zoned out, focused on whatever new big idea he was chasing. Everyone else in the photos? Laughing, talking, present. And Finn? Always somewhere else. Always working, planning, building something. His mom watched me flip through the album, her voice now soft and quiet. I should have seen it earlier, she said. How he used people. How everything was always about his angle, his plan, his version of the story. She paused. Her eyes were a little watery, but she didn't cry. You could just feel the weight of what she was carrying. I enabled it, she admitted. For years. I kept telling myself he'd grow out of it, that he just needed more time. But he didn't. He just got better at hiding it. And I'm so sorry that you got pulled into it too. I didn't say anything right away, because what do you even say to that? This wasn't just her finally seeing the truth about her son. It was her trying to make peace with it. A quiet kind of grief. Not just for who he is, but for who she hoped he'd be. And for the damage he left behind. It wasn't an apology I ever expected, but somehow it was the one that meant the most. I reached out to hand the album back, gently. It felt too personal, like something I shouldn't be holding. But she shook her head. Keep it, she said quietly but firmly. Maybe one day he'll want to remember who he used to be. But for now, I need to do what I should have done a long time ago. And that's when she told me what she and Finn's dad had finally decided. They're done, really done. No more letting him sleep in the driveway. day. No more free Wi-Fi. No more pretending he just needs more time to find himself when all he's really done is push everyone away. They're changing the locks, cutting off his access to the house, to their internet, to their support. But more than that, they're letting go of the hope that he'll magically change without being forced to try. And here's the part that really surprised me. They've arranged for him to stay with his uncle in another state. Someone who won't sugarcoat anything. Someone who's offered him a real job. Not a startup, not a streaming channel, not some made-up coin, just honest work, basic, straightforward, a paycheck for a full day's labor. No screens, no shortcuts, just reality. He can either take the offer or figure it out alone. But his parents, they're done. Done watching him ruin every relationship because he can't handle being told the truth. Done letting him lie and twist stories instead of putting in real effort. Done covering for a grown man who's still trying to live off promises he never kept. They're his consequences now, she said, not ours. And in that moment, I saw something shift in her. It wasn't anger, it wasn't bitterness, it was peace. The kind that only shows up when you finally stop carrying someone else's denial. And honestly, it felt like the first real ending Finn's story has ever had. As we stood up to leave, she reached out and hugged me, tight, the kind of hug that says more than words ever could. Then she leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper, and said, "Thank you for showing him there are consequences." I didn't know what to say. I just nodded. Then, almost like she was speaking to herself, she added, "I just wish he'd learn from them." And then she turned and walked away. I stood there for a while, watching her disappear down the street, feeling a mix of emotions I couldn't quite sort out. There was relief. Relief that after years of carrying it alone, someone else finally saw what I saw, that I wasn't the only one anymore. His own family was finally holding up the mirror, but underneath the relief was something softer, sadder. Maybe it was grief, not for what I lost, but for the version of Finn that never existed, the man he could have been, the life he could have built, if he hadn't been so focused on who he thought the world owed him. Because deep down, behind the lies and the ego and the never-ending schemes, there was someone I loved once, someone I believed in, someone I tried, really tried, to help grow into something real. But I can't keep grieving someone who only existed in my hopes, and now neither can they. So maybe this was closure. Not perfect, not clean, not tied up in a neat ending, but it was real, and that's more than I ever thought I'd get.